I think I've been extremely fortunate to have my first book translate to a Netflix show. It's definitely something I wouldn't have imagined of when I was writing the book. And just to see the kind of creative minds that came onto it and helped shape the book into the show, it was extremely, it was an enriching experience for me. Right from Mayank Tiwari, who wrote the screenplays, to Gaurav, who is the producer on the show, to Shahrukh sir, all of them, I think, they just were extremely encouraging of me when I was getting onto working on the show. So yeah, now it's taken us, I think, 2 odd years to get it to the platforms. Now it's finally out. So I'm just hoping people really enjoy it. So far, the response has been good, touch wood, and I hope that continues. And I hope there's another season. I was assisting Hussein Zaidi, who's a writer himself, a very famous writer, a crime journalist, and now a non-fiction writer. He's written Black Friday, all of that. So I was assisting him on his books, and he helped me shape the narrative of Bard. I always liked the spy fiction genre, wanted to kind of make something myself in that, just in terms of writing a book or something. Never thought it will get published until he stepped in and helped me shape it, and he put me onto publishers. So it all happened in a blur. Uh, Before I knew it, the book was in its real form right in front of me. And then cut to a few years later, it's now a show. So it's been quite a journey. It's been 6 odd years since Bard the book to now Bard the show coming out for me personally. It happened very organically, actually. I was again in college when I was interning at Red Chili's in the marketing team. One day he came to office, and at that point I didn't know him as well as I do now, but I had given him the book, and he was extremely happy to have seen someone who was 19 having written a book. So he was very encouraging at that point. He tweeted about the book later. uh, so Shahrukh sir, of course, has always, been supportive, and it's extremely inspiring just being in the same room as him. Uh, Hussein Zaidi, again, always been by my side. Gaurav Verma, who was the one who started this entire thing, the translation of book to screen for this particular book, he was the one who was instrumental in putting this together. Ribhu, Imran launched the book back in 2015, and never would we have imagined he'll actually play the lead. So it's all just it just fit into place very well, I think, and all of them extremely supportive of me. Uh, Writing a book and writing a show are two very different things. The book is a little more personal. You kind of write it for a reader. You're writing it for yourself as well. And you're the only person who matters when you're writing a book. Of course, you can take feedback, which I did from several people. But writing a show is actually, you're preparing a screenplay which is going to serve as a manual for the directors to shoot. It's not something that's going to go out to the audience in its raw form. So that is a very different way to write, and how you adapt the story in its most interesting visual way for the screen versus how you're writing it for a book. They're two very different procedures, but both of them come with their own sets of challenges. So yeah, it's been very interesting. I've learned a lot. Never had that at the back of my mind. Although Hussein sir used to tell me that create some cinematic moments, just go all out and make it as have fun writing it. Don't restrict yourself. So a lot of those moments which I felt and which Hussein sir's liked, but I felt are a little over the top, have actually worked for a lot of other people who've read it, and probably have been, you know, they've kind of translated well on the screen. So I don't know if you've seen the show yet, but I mean, when you see there's Vineet Kumar Singh, he's the actor. His entry is exactly as it was in the book, and I thought it's a little over the top, but it's really translated well on screen. So it's just. Of course, now when I'm writing something next as a novel, I will always have it at the back of my mind, whether I like it or not, that maybe this will be on screen. So let's try to write it a little cinematically. I don't know, it's just extremely thrilling. I just like, by virtue of my I don't know how to put it. I've read a lot of crime fiction from a very young age. Always found it engaging. Really liked spy thrillers. Watched a lot of them, and it was just the urge to create something in our context that led to the birth of that idea. And then that idea was further just it was just guided through by Hussein sir, who helped me write the book out. So crime fiction is definitely a genre that I love. I do look forward to that. I think it's I don't want to limit myself just to crime fiction right now. Probably get into something. I don't want to write something frivolous, but at the same time I want to just find stories that appeal to me, or create stories that could appeal to others, whether or not they have crime in them.